Let us all unite! Let us fight for a new world!
We don't sleep to dream, we sleep to build stamina, energy to do our thing. Get your camera up. This show is about to begin, so sit down and buckle it in. Let's go!
I hit the wrong button.
All right. Welcome to Pop Culture Unleashed. It's Thursday, October 17th. I'm Shane, and sitting next to me is my overworked, underpaid, and underfed brother, Brian. Brian, quickly give us your best piece of advice when going to the movies. Go.
Going to the movies. Listen, don't mess with my brother, okay?
What does
Don't
that
mess
feel
with
like?
brother Shane. I'll tell you why. Because we're boys. Right, Shane? We're boys?
Yes, we are.
And we're friends, right?
Yeah. Why do I feel like
So
something
we're
bad?
boyfriends.
Oh, you suck.
Anyways.
Anyways.
Best piece of advice for going to the movie theater.
Yes.
Always
quickly.
get the commemorative popcorn bucket because you have no idea when they're not going to be there anymore. That's all
Amen.
I'm saying. Because I have missed so many good ones. I missed the Deadpool one where you stick your hand in his butt to get the popcorn, and I'm so mad about that still.
That sounds so cool. All right. All right. Today, we have a lot of interesting things we are going to talk about. First off, we've got, Vice President Kamala Harris finally agrees to do a tough interview, and her staffers freak out toward the end of it. We're going to talk about that.
Just imagine that. What just happened?
There might have been a little lot going on. There might have been a lot going on. It was on Fox, so it'll be interesting. P. Diddy allegations just keep getting worse. Woman alleges he violently gang raped her as a form of payback. Yeah, this is going to be some crazy. Every week, it's like a crazier P. Diddy story. So more on that. The Apprentice movie is a Trump hit piece, and you can thank Republicans for it. Yeah,
Yep.
We'll look at that. A clown is leading the box office, but not the one you think. Move over, Joker. Terrifier 3 is clown boss of the box office. And you can thank TikTok for it. So we'll be talking about that.
Oh, TikTok.
Yep. Elon Musk catches a 20-story tall rocket coming back down to Earth. So why is the government trying to stop him? Yeah, they are. And we'll talk about it. Marvel's Russo brothers are back with Chris Pratt in a new movie called The Electric State. It looks bitchin', Brian, doesn't it?
It does. It looks really bitchin'. It does. I am excited for a movie in a while, and I saw that and I was like, oh my God.
So we have a lot to talk about today. We're excited, but first, let's get this super chat, this awesome $50 super chat. Kenneth LaRoque, our biggest supporter by far. All of you guys support well, but Kenneth has been just like bringing it, and then we appreciate it. Hey guys, I hope you're well. Very simply. Yes, Kenneth, we are doing pretty good now that we are here with you guys on the show. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, man. Kenneth LaRoque coming in hot. I gotta say, like, Kenneth keeps upping the ante for support for the show, and I keep moving his name up farther and farther on the end of our podcast videos. And as of today, I think his name is just going to be first now because he has dominated that top spot and that support spot for so long, and we really appreciate it, brother. It means a lot to us, sir.
Really does. It keeps it going. There's days when we're like, man, we've done so much hard work, and YouTube pays us nothing for this, but you guys show up, and so that's why we are here. Brian, let's unless we have anything else, let's move into the first story we've got today, and I think you're going to be able to show us a little clip of it. But let's talk a little bit. Vice President Kamala Harris was on.
Wait. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go again. I'm sorry.
Oh, would you like me to start over?
Yeah, I had the wrong clip queued up. I apologize.
You want me to just start from the beginning?
Just start from the beginning. Yes.
Hi, welcome to Pop Culture Unleashed.
No,
I'm
start
Shane.
from the beginning of the story. I'm
just kidding. I'm sorry.
This is my boyfriend, everyone. This is my boyfriend.
No, stop saying that. We're brothers.
Boys
it's weird.
and we're friends.
I know, but we're also brothers. So does that make us brother friends? Brother boys? I don't know. It's weird.
No,
but,
okay. Right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, all good. So we're going to be talking about Vice President Kamala Harris was on Fox News last night. Shocker to everybody. She's been seemingly dodging all of the tough interviews, but some have suggested that because she seems to be getting behind in the polls, she had no choice but to actually go on to do a tough interview with Fox and try to reach some new people. She did so with Bret Baier last night. It was a pretty short interview, and oh, I like that. Look at that. Choice for president if voting now.
Yeah, that was before the interview. After the interview, she lost a lot of ground.
So that's a Fox News poll.
Right.
Which, credit to them. 48. You would think that the Republican part would be higher, but I know they do their polling through randomness, supposedly.
Yeah, by the way, okay. Have you ever gotten a phone call for primary or like a general election polls? I've never gotten a phone call.
Never. I've never gotten a phone call asking. I get constant text messages of people asking me to give them money, saying they're these people, and I don't think they are. I think they're lying to me.
Yeah, I get the same. Like, hey, don't forget, Republican Jerry Lewis is running. I'm like, who? What? How did you get my number?
Yeah, who's Jerry Lewis? Yeah,
I've gotten random phone calls about who I'll vote for like school board or whatever, and I'm like, I don't even know who any of these people are. Like, it
happens. Yeah, I know, right? So just getting back to this story here. So she basically went on this interview, and essentially the reason why, and you can see she's behind a little bit on this poll. She's behind in a lot of polls for the swing states. And from what I heard, her staffers actually suggested that she go on with Bret Baier because he's known as kind of a fair guy, right? He gave Trump actually a really tough interview back when he was running the previous time. And so I heard that she was suggested by her. And at the end of this, Harris wasn't too happy about being on the show. And there's a good reason for it, because there's a little bit of awkwardness. She spends some time kind of filibustering. There's like this weird talking over each other. It became a very contentious interview.
It actually started before the interview. So she was 15 minutes late to the interview.
17 minutes late, but yes.
17 minutes late. So, whatever, she was late. And, these people, this is not a streaming show, right? So they're filling a slot on live television. And.
Well, no, that's not why. No, that's not. It wasn't. No, that was not it. So it was recorded. And the reason why is she was 17 minutes late, but they weren't giving him extra time to do the interview.
Right. Well,
so
what he said afterwards, though, was that they have a certain amount of time to do it because it's not airing, even if it's recorded.
No, it wasn't because it's no. So what it is he only had a certain amount of time because they only gave him a certain amount of time.
Oh, I see.
So they gave him like 30 minutes, right? Or maybe it was 45. Actually, I think it was 45 minutes. And so, but she showed up 17 minutes late, and then were refusing to give him the extra 17 minutes.
Right.
So it's kind of a way to control, like they really didn't want to be asked a lot of questions. Here's what they really wanted. They wanted to go on a tough show, and she was going to filibuster her way and not really answer the questions, maybe only have to answer like 3 or 4. And what Baier was saying today was that he was the reason he was cutting her off is he didn't want to only be able to ask her a couple questions and she was just going to talk, and say nonsense and then say, oh, I went on here Fox News to do this, but she didn't really answer any questions. She wanted the cred for doing a tough interview without actually having to do a tough interview.
Right. And
so after only about 20 minutes, a little over 20 minutes in, the staffers for Kamala Harris were waving him off saying, and if you want, you can play that clip that I think I sent you. It shows only the last part of it so that people can see.
You sent me a clip.
It's in that Unleashed,
yeah,
I think,
yeah,
or it's part of the story. No, I'm sorry, it's on the story.
Okay, I see. Yeah. So Anthony Mark in the chat did clarified. Recording at 5 p.m. starts at 5:18, and they had a 6 p.m. airtime. So that is rough. Like, what do you?
It makes it tough. But in this case, he actually. I think they were at an event already, and he interviewed her at this event. She didn't come to Fox. It's the first time it was kind of weird at the end. She says, yeah, it was nice to meet you. I'm like, my God, this is the first time you've been in politics this long, and this is the first time that you've met this man. Bret Baier's like kind of a big dog in news. So that was a little bit surprising.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I think Bret Baier is one of those like never Trumpers, or at least he was. But he is about as softball as it get. Like so he might give you difficult questions, but he's like a roll of paper towels in a nice suit. He's not like
No, I don't think so. I don't think
super,
so at all.
I don't think he's not like a really rough guy.
No, it's not that. He's professional. Like here's what Brett Baer is going to do.
Right.
He's going to ask you a hard question. He's not going to let you off. He's going to ask you the tough questions. No matter who you are, no matter what political side you are on, he's going to be direct about it.
Right.
And he's going to try to get you. He's the kind of news guy every freaking news person should be, is what I'm saying.
I see.
That's who everyone should be. You know, whoever comes on, you don't give him softball. You don't give him a pass. This isn't the Arsenio Hall show. You know, this isn't a talk show. This is the news. And you got questions to answer. And to his credit, he asked her questions about the border, which she dodged. She tried to take everything and put it back on Trump, which is very weird because it's Fox News.
Yeah.
You know, and
every question, like Shane, let me reenact it real quick. Ask me any question right now. Just any question off the top of your head.
What are you having for dinner tonight?
Trump. It was Trump's fault.
I did that on purpose. I knew you just say Trump.
Right.
You're having Trump for dinner tonight.
That's good. Every single question he asked was about. She just tried to say something about Trump. Trump. Like at one point, he asked her about her what she's going to do different, basically. What's different about the? She said, "You're going to be turning the page. You know, you've been in office for the last 3.5 years. Where are you turning the page from?" And she goes, "Trump's running for office right now." And you're like, what?
It was weird. Yeah, she doesn't really. It's that, and this is killing her. I mean, it has to be killing her. Like it has to be. If regular people are watching any of these, they got to be saying, "What did she just say?" You know, that's what's That's what I'm coming. Go ahead and play it if you got it.
Yeah. I just don't know what part of it to play. You want to play the very end?
Do you have the whole thing, or just
I have the whole thing? Yeah. You want to just scan through it?
Well, no. Just play. One of the questions here, or you actually do the last part where he says, "I'm being forced to wrap it up," because that's the interesting part of the story.
Okay, we'll do that. Here we go.
But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration?
Oh, this was weird. She said that China, that Iran was our worst.
But you said
enemy?
Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics?
Yeah, okay, let me pause it real quick. Yeah, that's very interesting.
I mean, China and Russia are obviously bigger threats than Iran. So she didn't seem prepared for that question.
Yeah. Vice President calls Iran biggest adversary to the U.S., which is because they have nuclear weapons now. And if that's the case, why did we give them all the money so they can make nuclear weapons?
Do you know what I think it is? I think that's all she had talking points on. I don't think she had anything to say on China. I don't think she had anything to say on Russia. I think she was preparing herself. She probably has a lot on Israel because those are the kind of where the questions are at right now. And I think she just threw out Iran because she has talking points, and can talk about how this administration is kind of supporting, fighting back against Iran by providing, Israel what it needs, even though they did give it ability.
Maybe she was trying to whistle to the Israel supporters.
Possibly. I mean, maybe, but it's just not true. And the problem is that even Israel supporters know. I mean, anybody knows that Iran's not as big of a problem as China. It's just they just know it.
I guess technically Iran can have nukes now, or has nukes now, or whatever.
They don't, not yet. No, they don't.
Yeah, okay.
But they can get it. But we've been talking about that for 20 years,
right? And if that's the real concern, then why did your administration give them an insane amount of money?
And these are the questions that he was trying to ask, but of course she was filibustering and wouldn't do it. Let's keep moving on here.
Yeah, okay. So here's
who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat.
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion.
See, this is her canned answer.
Posed a threat to Israel.
Oh my God, her cadence of her voice just drives me mad.
Yeah.
Because she never actually says anything of value. It's just like, well, let me tell you, at some point during this time, at that time we did it, I was there, I was in the room, and you're like, why everything is like a double answer, and it's never getting to the actual point. It's like she's, when you're playing football and you got to run the clock out because the other team has a chance to score. You got to run the clock out. I feel like everything she's doing is running the clock down.
Yeah, and it is, because to her, to win this game, it's for them to not really see who she is, because I don't think she's capable. Now could they have gotten her to that place had she not taken over for Biden and she had been, working on running for 2 years? Maybe. I just don't think she's prepared, and that shows the quality of what she's going to provide if she is president. So it's really scary to think that, but they were desperate. But this doesn't move the peg for her. I don't think there's anybody watching Fox News that are like, okay, yeah, she really did it, because it's obvious that she didn't answer any of the questions. And you would have to be a complete idiot not to look at that and go, well, she didn't answer any of the questions. I mean, even regular people, even people supporting her, should be like, she didn't answer the questions. So I don't know. I mean, what are we doing here, right?
No, yeah, I don't know what we're doing. I think that this is actually, and this is my conspiracy theory. So everyone put your tinfoil hats on, because I have a conspiracy theory for you today. I know you thought, how can you find a conspiracy theory in this? But I have one.
No. All right.
So Donald Trump let it slip that he was going to be going on Joe Rogan. Or
Okay.
perhaps he already did and it hasn't aired yet or whatever, right?
He hasn't been on it yet.
Okay. So he did, but he did on the Flagrant podcast. He let it slip that he'd be going on.
Yes, and he was on PBD today which he said, I believe I'm going on it. So he hasn't gone on it yet.
Okay, so that's good. Well, when that happened, I think Kamala Harris's team freaked out a little bit, because we're like, Joe Rogan is, first off, the biggest. He's the biggest. He's the biggest. That's the biggest internet personality ever right now. And like, if you go on a show, you're talking about millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people hearing what you have to say.
Right.
And a large portion of his audience is young men. And what is Kamala Harris suffering in right now? Young men.
Yeah, young men, right.
So now Trump
Old
is going
men.
on Joe Rogan, which is really bad for her.
Or at least he said he is, right? Yeah.
Right, he said he was. Okay, so they announced, though, right after that news slip, that they were in talks with Joe Rogan to go on Joe Rogan's show, because Joe is a very fair person. If he's going to have Trump on, he wants to have Kamala on too, right?
Well, he would. I think if he's going to have Trump on, he would have Harris on for sure.
Of course, yeah. Now, I think what happened was they were like, okay, we're talking to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is gonna, he's gonna beat the crap out of our candidate.
Right, so what's the conspiracy theory, though?
The conspiracy theory is we need to prepare her by getting her to someone who is also the opposition, quote unquote, but will be softer, will be easier to approach, like a setup interview, and see how she does. And when
the problem is,
and if she does poorly, we're going to end communication with Joe Rogan immediately.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's an interesting conspiracy theory, but it's not possible, because Brett Barrett already set this up before they made the announcement. This had already been set up before she came out, moments after Trump said he was going to be on Rogan, to say she was also going to be on Rogan. I think it's a game. I think she's playing a game of, let me build my credibility without actually having to. That's what you see on this Fox News story. She's not answering any of the questions, but she can say, I did a tough interview. Didn't answer none of the questions, but she did a tough interview, I guess. Right? That we didn't get anywhere. We didn't get any answers. We didn't learn anything.
Right. We didn't learn anything.
But she did. So now the problem with Rogan is it's going to be impossible for her to go on that show, because Rogan's going to do this. So, Madam Vice President or Vice President, the border, right? So 3.5 years, you guys didn't. And as soon as she goes, well, Trump and this and that and the other thing, and Trump ran and we tried to do this, he's going to go, but hold on a sec. And here's the thing, there's no time limit. You can't be like, I'm doing 20 minutes on Joe Rogan. It's a conversation. So he's just going to keep, but you're not answering the question. He just doesn't give a shit. He would keep. And so there's no way she's going on Rogan. Absolutely.
Right.
Because she won't take those questions. She just wants people to think about it. So here's what's going to happen. A bunch of people are going to hear, oh, she's going on Rogan. Right. And guess what? What percentage of those people are just going to think she went on Rogan and never watch Rogan?
So many, bro.
So she gets the credibility without doing the work.
And you know what? It's crazy, because it's like a weird, advanced form of gaslighting. It's so odd.
Right. That's exactly what it is. And that's what politics is. It's gaslighting.
Yeah, and you're right. And here's and they've been doing that for a while. If they can't win, straight up, then they cheat. If they can't cheat, then they lie. If they can't lie, then they just ignore you. It's very interesting because recently, and I'm gonna play the clip about the border thing that Brett asked her.
Oh, please, yeah, that's the best one.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, that is the best one.
I mean, because if you set it up properly, okay, it is a fact. Okay, regardless of how Trump did it, he stopped illegal immigrants from coming in the country when he was president.
Right.
As soon as he was not president and Biden and Harris took office, they immediately stopped that so that they could come in. Right. People got killed. Bad things happened. It's just a fact. Okay. But not at any point does she take any responsibility for it. So yeah, go for it.
Before I do that though, because this is a very important part of it, this is like a good setup. I do want to play this real quick, and I posted this on Twitter. And this is about the border czar thing. Ready? I'm sorry. This is about the border, not in general. Here we go.
This attempt to spread widespread claims about non-citizens voting. That's something experts say is incredibly rare.
If you're not fighting an actual problem, which we're not in this country with non-citizens voting.
Right now is leading the charge, claiming that undocumented immigrants will be voting en masse this year, even though there is no proof of that, and it is 100% illegal for non-citizens to vote.
It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. It's already illegal.
This attempt to...
So the reason I played that was because that's only like 6 examples of them repeating the exact same line, right? So the machine, the Democrat machine, repeating the exact same line. Well, what line was going on right before? It's illegal for non-citizens to vote. Yeah, we know. Like, we get it. It's illegal for non-citizens to vote. Yes, it's illegal for illegal immigrants to vote. So illegal immigrants already came here illegally, but they're going to follow the rules. Okay. So that's another form of gaslighting. It's like it's that quote, the most basic form of mind control is repetition. Well, right before that, it was, I don't know why they keep saying this. Kamala Harris was never the border czar. That's misinformation. That's a lie. And then you go to the next channel. The Republicans keep claiming that Kamala Harris was the border czar. That's a lie. And you're like, wait a minute. Do you think we're so stupid that we can't go on YouTube and look something up from a year ago, a year and a half ago, where that exact same person that is repeating the exact same line was the person reporting that she was the border czar?
But that's the craziness about it for me. Like, you see this, we all know this happened. They're saying it's not happening, but there's nobody to go like, but you did.
But you did.
But you did say it. But you did.
You did.
But you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I mean, it's like, it's weird. It's almost like talking to a toddler who's lying to you. Like, but there's nobody like, hey, just so we know. Yeah. I mean,
you're all suffering the Mandela effect right now. I was never border czar.
And it's because the media used to, politicians have always done this. And the way they got around it is they skirted the issue and then they moved on, or they refused to answer. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's how it is. But the problem is that half of the media, or most of the media, isn't bothering even asking the questions. So it can't be, it's not as obvious as it usually is.
And that's the biggest problem. I feel like if more people were informed, they wouldn't get away with this. But the reason they get away with this is because even though there's people like us and people in the chat who not only can remember, but we can also are smart enough to go literally look it up. Like, we can just go look it up on YouTube and on Rumble and on Twitter. We can there it is. There's the exact spot where the exact same people who are claiming she is not the border czar, literally less than 18 months ago, were saying she is the border czar. You can just go look it up, and you can make a compilation. If anyone wants to do this, it takes a bunch of time.
But nobody would. That's the problem. Just what you said is the key. Just what you said. It takes a bunch of time, and nobody got time for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got jobs. They're trying to pay their bills, and they just go, yeah, politicians lie all the time. So and this we end up in this problem.
Or they just go, I thought she was. Oh, I guess I was wrong.
Or who cares? Move on. I still support her. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the folks that are talking about, that are saying stop criticizing FEMA when there's eyewitness reports of FEMA not doing their job. They would rather trust the government because trusting the government is safe. It makes you feel safe. So this extreme form of
I got a whole thing about that.
Okay. So it's extreme form of gaslighting, though, that we're seeing, especially now, where it makes you feel like an idiot because they must feel like you're an idiot because they just said one thing and then 5 minutes later they're saying another. Like Fauci saying, I came up with the 6 distance, and then 6 months later, I never said that. It's right there on tape, dude.
I don't know. I don't know how these people can live with themselves. It's like, it's weird. It's like knowing that you've lied, right? And then being able to prove it, but then just pretending like it never happened. It's freaking weird. It's happening all the time. Anyways, let's move on.
So this is this is what gets me here. So he goes to talk about the border thing, and you expect like any answer whatsoever because once again, she was the border czar, whether they say it or not. She was in charge of that. It's a total misstep. The border is completely open, or not completely, but it's a disaster, and there are millions and millions of people just flooding into the country, and who knows what that's going to do to us for the next 40 years? Who knows?
All right, play the clip.
Here we go.
For support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them.
I'm sorry. I'm stopping it there. They want support from the current administration, of which you are the vice president. Just to be clear.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, yeah.
I get it. They're frustrated. They want support.
I get it. Yeah, no, which is why they have now put all their support behind Trump. So officially, it just came out that all Border Patrol agents, 100% of them, all 100% backing Trump. So, you know, I believe he even asked her that question or says that to her. But the point is that she avoided answering the question because to answer the question would be to admit that you've made a mistake. And she's just not. I mean, he brought up Lincoln Riley. He brought in the people who got killed. Don't you owe those families an apology? I'm so sorry of what happened to their family. But she didn't apologize. She didn't take ownership. And honestly, I think if she were to take a little ownership and just say, you know what, we made a mistake. You know what, we made a mistake, and I'm going to do it differently when I'm president next. But, you know, that might actually go a long ways with people.
I would have a lot of, my respect level would instantly go up if she was like, yeah, you know what, we made some mistakes, but we're working on it. We're fixing it, you know? And we're talking to the right people. We're getting the right people involved. And, you know, we have a plan. You know, at the very least, instead of just completely ignoring the question, saying something totally outside the realm of what an answer is, and then having like this fake, that thing she does where she's like, I feel for the families.
Yeah, I know. It's all fake. It's all fake. Well, what do we teach our children? Take ownership.
Yeah, take ownership. I would never say that about American people. But Donald Trump would. You're like, what?
Yeah. I understand that's what politics are about. But I mean, she's doing all the things that we've taught our children not to do, you know, and it's just very frustrating. So this whole thing, you know, listen, there's a lot of things that Trump does that frustrates me too. Don't get me wrong. But overwhelmingly, this woman, to me, has shown that she's not qualified to be president of the United States. And I think just in this interview, it shows it again. So why don't we just leave it there? Do we have anything else we want to show?
Well, this is the part that a lot of people were showing. And the part where she said Donald Trump's been running for 10 years or something. Here we go.
That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about
is... You and I both know what we're talking about. I actually don't.
I love that. That's actually my favorite. I actually don't know what you mean.
Yeah, the moment, too, where he, like, leans forward a little bit. He's like, you see the side profile, and he's like...
Yeah. It's just awkward.
Like, I want to say, like, in his mind, he was like, this crazy person is not going to answer this because it's halfway through. It's a little over halfway through the interview.
Yeah.
That's when he realized she's not going to answer a single question I have.
No, I mean, he probably should have been aware of that ahead of time. I mean, 20 minutes in, they're telling him to wrap it up. So it's obviously not going the way they feel like, and they managed to get some of their message out. So it was Trump, Trump, Trump. And then it was go visit our website to see all the things that we're.
Yeah, I have 80 pages of agenda. Have you read a single one of those pages, Mrs. Harris? I want to know.
Probably not.
Because you could just say one thing. Give me one policy you have right now.
Yep, we're less than a month, brother, to election, and it'll be interesting to see how things happen here in the United States.
Like 3 weeks or something, right?
Yep. Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Okay.
November 11th, I think. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on from that story and talk about something less political, but just as disgusting. P. Diddy allegations, dude. I just, every time we visit this, it just keeps getting worse, man.
All right.
Like every week.
Yeah. So P. Diddy is one of those. He's exactly what Epstein would have been had Epstein not expired early.
Actually, apologies. Before we move on to this topic, let's grab these super chats that we got from these wonderful people.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, you're right.
And then we'll move on.
I'm sorry. Guys, I'm so sorry. I missed you. I apologize.
It's my fault. I should have recognized that before moving on.
From Christy's Corner for $5, she says, I can't afford a 50, but I can do a $5. Yes, keep up the great work. Thank you, Christy's Corner. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Christy.
Formerly Frodo Lives.
Yeah, and Frodo Lives. Yep, Christy's Corner, which Christy has her own little YouTube channel. You guys should check out. And we appreciate it. Listen, $5, $50, whatever you do to support us, it means. Listen, Jesus. I'm not usually big on religion, but Jesus said, give what you can. So there you go.
What?
That's what he said, right? Didn't prove? Tell me if I'm wrong here, but didn't some rich guy say, "Look at that poor peasant. He gave nothing.
All right, you
gave nothing.
You are murdering this.
Wait, let me finish it.
You're talking about the widow in the temple,
and right, and then the Jesus said what she gave, even though she gave almost nothing.
It wasn't a rich guy.
Greater than what you gave.
Yes.
Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. So the moral of that story was all these rich people were giving all these possessions, just lots of gold and sacrifice to the temple. But this little poor lady walks up and puts 2 pence down, right? $2 basically.
And a glass eye.
And a glass eye. And Jesus notices and he says, you see here, that woman gave the most money here. Gave the most here. And when
didn't one of the rich people complain?
No. He starts the conversation. And when they question him how that's the case, he goes, because she gave all she could.
Yeah, doesn't he tell them go back and give everything you own?
No, that's a separate story.
So I love those stories where he's go ahead, give it out. Yeah.
He cast demons out of some guy, and the guy's like, "Thank you so much, Jesus. How can I want to follow you." He gets on his knees. Let me follow you, and he goes, "No, go home and tell people what we've done here." But I want to follow you. And he goes, okay, fine. Then go sell everything you have and come back. The guy's like, I'll
just do the first thing. What's the first thing?
I'm going to do that first thing you said.
Can I do the first thing again?
you told me to go home and just tell people a good testimonial. Okay.
I got 15 camels. I'm telling you right now.
No, I'll just give you a good testimonial because I got a lot of stuff.
Kenneth LaRoque with 5 gifted Kenneth coming through.
I know. 5
gifted Pop Culture Unleashed memberships, which is a value, I think, of $25. So thank you so much, Ken, or something like that. No, or $15. I can't remember. $15. Whatever it is, into the minimum.
Whatever it is, we appreciate it.
We appreciate it so much. Adds to the 50 you gave earlier, and we got some brand new.
Yeah, the only income we get from this channel, by the way, the only income is from members.
Oh,
we don't get ad revenue, nothing like that. Like our growth is just.
It's going backwards, actually.
It's going backwards. Like we've lost 9 subscribers this last cycle.
We keep losing subscribers.
But our members keep going up because you guys keep putting the word out there, and it matters. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
R to the icky coming through sticky. Anyways. R to the icky says, did she pull the I grew up in a middle class family?
Oh, jeez. I think even she's aware that she's said that too much now.
Yeah. I listened to the whole interview twice, and I didn't hear the "I grew up in a middle class family" thing. I think she reserves that for when she's talking to like some urban influencer.
It's when she gets asked a question she doesn't know the answer for, but it's about the economy. So she has like these given questions for different things. Like, so what do you plan on doing about the economy? Listen, I grew up in a middle class family. A single mom. Okay, I'm the only person who that's running that put people in prison. Okay, I'm just saying. Good.
Right. It's such a weird thing. I grew up in a middle class family.
I can say it almost as good as she can.
And she goes, I'm from the hood, and I put people in prison for smoking marijuana. And you're like,
what?
What is going on right now? Yeah. Remember, she didn't get her start in politics by getting elected. She was appointed. She was appointed by Brown because she was Brown's mistress at the time. It
wasn't Brown.
Was it not Brown? Yeah, it was Brown.
Not Jerry Brown. No, it was another guy. You're talking about Governor Brown? No, not at the time. It was another guy. Maybe that guy's name's Brown too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she got her start. There's actually a really interesting interview.
Yeah, she was appointed though. She wasn't elected. She was appointed because she was having an illicit relationship with the guy in charge.
Yes.
And I'm not slut shaming or whatever, and then crazy. I'm just saying that she was not elected. She wasn't elected though. She was appointed because it's just not. Her story is not the story you want to like teach your kids. This is how you get ahead. It's just not.
There's a really good Tucker Carlson interview with a woman who like was with her from the beginning, who knew her from the beginning, and she like tells her whole story. I don't know where the Tucker Carlson's platform is, but I saw that somewhere and I thought it was actually pretty interesting.
Talking about that story right there?
No, it was a video.
Oh, interesting.
You just wanted to show that picture.
I did.
You just wanted to show that picture.
I gotta be honest. Back in the day, she was pretty hot, dude. I'm sorry.
Right.
Art of the Icky also says, "Hope you are doing well, Brian and Shane. Keep the amazing work you both do." Thank you, Art of the Icky. We appreciate you, man.
We are doing pretty darn good as we can do, and better when we're on the show with you guys. Thank you for the $10, and we really appreciate it, brother.
And from Doomed, for $2, thank you, Doomed. He says, "Is Trump going on the Undertaker's podcast?"
He's making his way around. I think he's going to do everybody's podcasts.
Yeah. By the way, I guess
maybe he could be on ours.
I guess we could drop the news now. He's going to be on our podcast next week.
What are you two doing? You guys don't even have a real podcast. Why am I on Zoom?
I see there's like 30 people watching. Hey, Junior, why am I here right now? I could be on Rogan right now. What's going on? Mr. President, we can hear you. I know you can hear me. You should be ashamed of yourself.
We're going for the fat, bearded, white man vote. Anyways, thank you so much, Doomed. Appreciate the $2. All right, now we can move on.
All right, rock and roll it.
Okay, so let's talk about P. Diddy allegations. They just keep getting worse for P. Diddy. Can you believe this? A woman alleges he violently gang raped her as a form of payback.
Yeah.
There's a link to an article I sent you.
You gotta say grape. I'm gonna have to cut that out.
I gotta say graped, really?
When we make this clip, it's like the first minute you can't say the word gang rape.
Oh, got it.
So start over again and
you can't say
say gang assault.
Okay, I got this. I got this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Can you believe P. Diddy? There's another allegation. It just keeps getting worse. It's unbelievable.
One more than the 120 he had last week?
Yeah, it's actually, yes. A woman alleges that he violently did some weird stuff to her that was really bad and that a whole bunch of people were involved, and it included a whole bunch of penetration that's really odd, and it was like a form of payback.
Oh, God.
How's that? Is that good?
I don't...
Is that good?
Yeah, it's good. I don't get it. I know. It's, by the way, we're not laughing. We're laughing at a previous thing that we were talking about. We're laughing at the way you had to phrase that because YouTube hates the words we would have to use to actually tell the story.
Well, show the picture. You can show the headline. They can't get that. Show the headline.
There you go.
Oh, that's not the one I gave you.
Oh,
but
that's
okay.
not the one you gave me?
Wow, that's even better. That's like, woo.
Where did I get that one then?
I don't know. I didn't do TMZ. I did K-Ron 4, but that's fine. This is better. This is better. That shows you. But apparently it was the person said that, I guess, accused him of killing Tupac. And as a result, he decided to do that thing you see there on the screen with a remote control.
Yeah, P. Diddy is just a monster. And I believe that this kind of information, we would have heard more and more with the Epstein case, just as we're hearing with P. Diddy, had Epstein not been murdered in his cell by the CIA. And I think right now, it's just going to get worse. We're going to hear more and more. The people that are coming out right now, that are coming out of the woodwork, they are realizing that they are safe from him.
Yeah.
So he's a monster that threatened their career, threatened their family, probably threatened their lives. And now they're realizing that they're safe because everyone else is speaking out. The dam is broken. Like 120, 150. We're talking about this guy. This guy went on a serial
sexual assault.
Damn it. Not using certain words is really hard.
Now it's over a minute, so we should be good now.
Yeah, so he went on a serial, basically, he did bad things for like 2 decades straight.
With his private parts.
And now all the people that he affected negatively, they can finally speak out after all this time. People are coming out of the woodwork. And like, you think it's going to end here? It's not.
There's going to be lots more. I think he has a God complex. I think he truly thought for so many years, I think he just thought nothing bad could happen to him. A woman, so let's give you the story. A woman has filed a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, alleging that he and his entourage drugged and sexually assaulted her in 2018 as an act of retaliation. The complaint, obtained by News Nation, apparently, includes graphic details of the alleged assault against the plaintiff, whose name is Ashley Parham. She claimed it was a form of payback after she told Diddy she believed he had something to do with the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur. For you Star Trek fans, Tuvok. As stated in the lawsuit filed Tuesday, October 15th. The lawsuit also alleges Combs was part of a group that did bad things to her at an apartment in Orinda back in 2018. Parham also claims that she was shot at and at one point grazed Diddy with a knife after he allegedly chased her down a flat. So this, I want you to picture this scene. She's being shot at. She has a knife and she's trying to stab him. There's just badness going on around here. Combs is alleged to.
So she's getting shot at. She grazes him. It upsets him
with a knife.
Yeah, that she tried to fight back with a knife when he has a gun.
I mean, honestly, I'd be pretty offended as well. Be like, come on, get a knife or get a gun.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So Combs is alleged to have used a television remote to penetrate the plaintiff multiple times, according to the lawsuit. She said she reported the incident to 3 law enforcement agencies: the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office, the Walnut Creek Police Department, and the Orinda Police Department. According to the lawsuit, Parham first reported the rape to the Contra Costa County Sheriff, but was ignored. It looks like later on she failed to include his name in statements because she had been ignored the first time and didn't want and thought nothing would happen, and he'd end up killing her or something. So
right.
Yeah, so this is just one more. I mean, listen, I know it's interesting. These are just going to keep coming, and we're not going to kill you guys one at a time with these things, but this one's, all the other ones have been pretty bad. This is like a different level, wouldn't you say, Ryan?
Yeah. Can I read this horrible part? And I'm not making fun of this. I'm really clear. I know I make fun of everything, but I'm not making fun of this.
No, yeah, do it.
Let me read this. In a horrifying account, Parham's suit alleges Diddy then picked up the television remote. We talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's worse. While violently assaulting plaintiff with the television remote, told plaintiff that her life was in his hands, and if he wanted, he could take her and she would never be seen again. The suit then alleges that Diddy ordered his co-defendant, Shane Pierce, to turn her over, put a pillow over her head, because he didn't want to see her face or hear her cries, and instructed the defendant, Shane, to anally assault the plaintiff. My God. Like, this guy is a straight up monster. He is a monster. Like, do you understand how absolutely terrifying and horrible this is?
Yeah. And let me just tell you, when bad things happen, he's going to get this and more when he gets to jail. Well, forget that. Before he goes to hell, he's gonna be somebody's BITCH in prison.
Oh yeah. When he finally gets out of like solitary or whatever he's in right now, like, oh my God, all those acts. Yeah, let me tell you something, Sean. You've been acting like a gangster for 40 years. You are about to spend the rest of your life with actual gangsters.
With actual gangsters, yes, who do not like people who do that.
And they don't like people who sexually assault defenseless women. You are about to spend the rest of your life with the people you've been acting like for the last 40 years. And you're going to see what it's like to have to actually interact with murderers, rapists, horrible criminals. And do you think they're going to go soft on you, bro? Like, how old? Can you tell me how old he is? Look it up. How old is Sean Combs?
Oh, yeah. He's 50,
so not only is he a much older than he was, but he's also a pretty short guy in comparison to a lot
54.
of other... Huh?
54. He's 54.
54-year-old, weak, short guy. And you know what? They all have a bone to pick with you. Half the people in there don't like you because they know you killed Tuvok Shakur.
Nice.
And the other half have something to prove by raping Diddy. Raping the great Sean Combs. You are going to really pay for your crimes. And you know what? I don't feel sorry for you, bud.
I just want to put in allegedly. Okay, there you go.
Allegedly, whatever, yeah.
We're not big enough to sue.
Tuvok. It's Tupac. That's an inside joke from Star Trek.
No, the reason I say that is he has not been tried for his crimes. I mean, listen, I know that. Listen, we believe your day in court. It's just like, come on now. After 121, 125, 130, after 500 people come forward, at what point did he do something wrong?
Yeah. Here's the deal.
Right.
Like, I normally don't just automatically believe the person accusing someone, right?
Right.
But when it's like 150 people and there's video evidence,
right.
At what point you go, all right, well, listen, like, I know you're gonna have your day in court, but like, even if 90% of those people are lying, you're still a monster.
Yeah. Well, he's still alive, so that means there are no politicians that feel like they're in danger. So
he's in solitary, bro. Yeah. The celebrity music industry doesn't have the same power that politicians have.
Yeah, no.
They're gonna get him when he goes to the Gen Pop. That's what they're gonna do. When he gets to Gen Pop, they're gonna. That's why he's sitting in solitary, because he's worried that Jay-Z is gonna send some thug in Gen Pop after him. Because you know what? Jay-Z's not off the hook. Jay-Z went to a lot of P. Diddy parties. All I'm saying, and if they're as bad as what the 120 people are saying, Jay-Z has some splaining to do.
Next week, let's get together a list of all the potential people who could be in trouble. We haven't done that yet, and I don't think we've really gone down the list. I think we should do that. Next week on the show, we'll get a list of everybody who might have been at one of his parties, and we'll talk about it.
I think it's hilarious how all these celebrities are like just scrubbing their media accounts, like delete that.
Diddy? Never heard the name.
Delete the Instagram post where I was like, nothing like a P. Diddy party. Oh. All right.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So let's move on from this. More on that, I'm sure, next week, because every week something new keeps happening.
Something horrible. Absolutely.
Something terrible.
It's horrible is happening constantly.
Let's talk about a new movie that came out that you probably haven't seen yet. And it's called The Apprentice. No, not the TV show, The Apprentice. The Apprentice movie, a Trump biopic Did you know Brian came out on October 11th?
I did. It was Sebastian Stan, bro.
Sebastian Stan. There's actually some pretty interesting people in this movie. Not only Sebastian Stan, but Jeremy Irons and some other people you will recognize. But what's got some people up in arms, especially Donald Trump, is they were trying to put a stop to this movie coming out. It came out in the Cannes Film Festival, and they tried to stop it. And essentially, it came out anyways. And the fact that it came out 1 month exactly before the election really raises some interesting questions. Would you say?
No, obviously they're trying to affect the election. I mean, come on, Shane. Are you doing what?
I'm trying to be a professional journalist here.
Okay, is that what you're okay?
I mean, I'm asking you, like, do you think this could possibly?
For some reason, whenever we do our show, I act like we're just having a conversation when I know you have to ask the question to set it up. And I get that.
I'm trying to be professional here,
yeah, I get it. You're trying to be Brett right now, and I'm totally being Kamala. Like, what are you talking about? You know.
let me get bad with you. Listen, Brian, you're not answering the question. Okay, so listen, I'm asking you again.
I was.
Okay.
Okay.
Sit up straight. Wipe your mouth. Okay, here we go.
No. You're okay. You're completely right. It's right before the election, so you can look at it two ways. Ready? We're going to release a movie about the leading candidate, and that's the best time to release it because we're going to get the most amount of buzz for it. But that you'd be wrong, because in reality, if you're going to make that movie, it should have came out over the summertime when the most amount of people would be going to watch the movies, and he would still be at peak. Donald Trump is still going to be at the top of his popularity game regardless. They did it at this point because they want to affect the election. But here's where they went wrong. Ready? Who was the movie for? Trump supporters aren't going to watch a hit piece.
No, they don't care.
And never Trumpers don't want to watch anything about Trump.
Yeah. So that's the problem with the movie. So I was going to lead into this. This is good. It's a good catch by you. So what we can do is we're going to talk a little bit more about this movie, but let's show the box office numbers first. I did send you an image on that Unleashed channel.
Okay.
Let's show the image. This is today's numbers of box office numbers. Now the movie came out last week, and as you can see, The Apprentice is listed at number 9.
No, number 10.
Number 10.
Oh, no, number 9. You're right.
Right below a re-release of The Nightmare Before Christmas. So not a lot of people are going to see this movie.
Oh my God. So what you're saying is a re-release of an extremely old movie that is
making more money.
I mean, let's just get this right. A re-release of an extremely old holiday-themed movie is doing better than your big, brand new, shiny hit piece.
Yes.
Incredible. And look at these. Look at the dailies on this thing, dude. It's really not making a penny, is it?
It's not. And I'll tell you, a lot of people are going a long ways to try to make this seem like it's not a hit piece. You've got the director and the actors all talking about how it not being a hit piece. But I've uncovered some information that's going to show you exactly.
Yeah, the director is Ali Abbasi, and that guy is a total brainwashed TDS mess. So,
well, they all are, but there's actually, it has to do with the distributor. But first, let's talk about what's happened in the film. So they decided they're going to make a film about Donald Trump's life. This started way back in 2018 when the writer for the biopic, as a New York guy who covered Trump back in the day, decided he was going to write a script about it. But the director that you just mentioned, Ali Abbasi, had just come out with another movie. I think it was, I can't remember which one. It was like a monster movie, right? Not something that wasn't super popular. But people in Hollywood at that time were telling him, you need to do a biopic about Trump. They were like pushing him to do it, right? He talks about this in an interview. But, he realized, he even mentions it, well, he knew that all they wanted to do was burn up Trump because he was in office. He was president at the time.
Right.
But the guy said he seriously wanted to do like a real movie about Trump. He didn't want to make it until he'd learned more about him. So in this movie, what you find, and whether or not the things in this movie are true or not, and it does say at the beginning of this movie, when you watch it, that parts of this movie are fictional. Right. It does say that at the beginning, because in order to make the story more interesting, they had to fictionalize some things. But some of the things that are included,
because viewers always see that tag and never form an opinion.
Well, of course, they're going to think that this is what it really is. And there are a lot of elements from Trump's life that are in here. So one of the things that they really focus on is the relationship between Trump and Roy Cohn, who was kind of his mentor, thug, I guess, lawyer for years. And they insinuate that there's some sort of a erotic homosexual relationship, or that Cohn was in love with Trump, essentially. And they sort of make this strange connection that he actually loved Trump in a more than as his lawyer way, like in a man-to-man way. They also talk about.
So this guy also did the Last of Us and the two man-on-man episodes.
Okay, got it. Well, yeah. So that's not. I mean, they do see. Apparently, Cohn does have some sort of interesting relationship history, but the point is they have that in there. They've got Trump raping his Ivana Trump, his previous wife, who she did say in a courtroom thing that he had pushed himself on her, had actually raped her, I think. So they used all of these elements in this movie, and they did what basically is, it just doesn't make Trump look very good. But it also did a weird thing where it kind of humanizes Trump, and it shows that really this guy Cohn is the reason, like, made Trump. It's very strange. Now, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen a lot of things about it. Now, here's what's really interesting. Independent film distributor Tom Ortenberg. Now, have you ever heard that name before? Probably not, right?
No.
Okay. Tom Orton, he's the guy who distributed the movie. Nobody in Hollywood would touch it. Nobody would touch it because it was one of those things where, listen, nobody wants to be involved in something like this.
Of course not.
But here's the problem. Not only is Tom Ortenberg a donor to the Kamala Harris presidential campaign, okay, so he's the one who distributed it when no one else would. So that's why you're getting this piece coming out a month before, because that's exactly what he wanted. In 2016, guess what? He endorsed Bernie Sanders for president. And then he tried to distribute Hillary's America movie just before the primaries, when the two were going against each other.
So this guy he's like old school Hollywood.
And guess what? Let's go back even further. Fahrenheit 9/11, Michael Moore. He distributed that movie just before the George W. Bush election.
So he's like Hollywood propaganda guy.
This is what Tom Ortenberg is. He is trying to kill whoever he doesn't support. That's it. And he's trying to kill him with whatever he can do from the film standpoint. So he's definitely
exactly what Hollywood was created for, that purpose. So it's not surprising.
People won't touch it. And this guy's an independent film distributor. So most of the major distributing houses won't do these movies. But Tom Ortenberg will if it's against the candidate he doesn't want to win. So it is a hit piece, even though a lot of the people are saying it's not a hit piece. It 100% is, but here's the deal. Nobody's watching it. And honestly, if Trump would just shut up about it and stop talking about it, because he's been very vocal about how he feels, which, as you can tell, was not going to be very nice about this whole thing. The best thing he can do is ignore it, and it'll be gone in 2 weeks. Now, I am interested in seeing the movie. I definitely want to see what this take on it is. And I
gotta tell you, this poster goes hard. Good poster.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some good actors in it. It's got some interesting, and I want to see it. But when I watch it, I will understand that it may not all be true. There may be elements of truth to it, but it is one of those movies where it may not be true.
Yeah, but you're smarter than the average guy, bro. You know, I think a lot of people. I'm glad it's not doing well, because a lot of people are just not that. I'm gonna be nice here and say informed, and they'd be like, "You see, Trump raped a woman," not even realizing any of the context or anything about it being his wife or whatever, and just like they're gonna like this is definitely going. If this had been successful to some degree, you know, it would have been bad overall for Trump's image. But because no one's watching it, no one cares.
Well, and I think I would have respected the idea of doing this film more if it had happened after the election, win or lose. You know, whether he wins or loses, you put it out.
Right.
But, you know, I get you're trying to, you know, you're trying to not only make a bunch of money at the theater, but you're also trying to have Trump lose the election. But I think this is going to backfire because, as you can see from the numbers, it's only made $2 million at the box office, and it was released to almost 1,200 theaters, which is a wide release. So that's pretty scary.
It's weird. Like, if they want to make Trump look bad, you don't get the Winter Soldier to play you.
Well, like I said, I'm not certain that the director and the actors wanted to necessarily. I think they really wanted to tell a story about Trump that was true, based on their demented, twisted sense of it. But I think by listening to a lot of the interviews, they were trying to. I think they were actually worried that they weren't making him look bad, like they were humanizing him too much.
Yeah, he's
So,
like walking
I'm
in New
interested in the movie.
York, just like casually looking around the big building. Yeah, I mean, the trailer makes him look like sort of a badass.
Well, and they make it look like this guy Cohn created Trump. That's what supposedly what the movie is. Like, Trump was fine until this guy got a hold of him. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But I just thought that was interesting. It came out just this last week, and if you guys are interested in it, I mean, go watch it. And just note that it may not be 100% true.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not 100% true. Not May night.
It says it. It says it at the beginning. This is not 100% true.
Do not be fooled by our propaganda. All right.
So, okay, let's move it along here. And you'll be able to bring up the graphic that you just had for the next one as well. This is wonderful. A clown is leading the box office, everybody, but it's not the Joker. As you probably saw from our stories last week, the Joker is doing terrible at the box office. And it's been taken over by another movie called, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, Terrifier 3. So if you guys are familiar, some people love the Terrifier franchise. But I have never seen one of the Terrifier movies because the first Terrifier movie was a B movie. Terrifier 2 was essentially an elevated B movie that did make it to a box office release to about $15 million. Made money. So no shame there. But Terrifier 3 is making its rounds on TikTok and social media, and the kids are learning that this movie is calling itself the most brutal horror movie ever made, the most graphically intense, and it's getting people's attention. If you take a look at it here, Terrifier, can you pull that number up again? I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. If you take a look at it, Terrifier 3, this is the daily box office, yesterday's daily box office, made over $2 million. It made more than the Trump biopic did in one day, Terrifier 3. And over last weekend, it made $25 million. And that's because of this buzz that's coming out all over social media. And here's what's really interesting is they think that number could actually be much higher because a lot of teenagers and tweens, so there's 11, 12-year-olds and teenagers, they say are going to see The Wild Robot, buying a ticket, and then sneaking into Terrifier 3. So these are some of the reports coming out. So
this is like the new generation's Human Centipede or something.
Which never got a theatrical release, right?
Yeah, it was banned in like 4 countries.
It's a terrible movie. You don't want to watch that. But I did see a clip, and it's pretty gory. Like, this stuff is pretty nasty. So and what's really interesting is if you take a look, the Rotten Tomato scores on this thing.
If it has a good score, I'm going to be confused.
Listen, Terrifier, I'm pulling it up right now. Terrifier, 60% Rotten Tomatoes. What? Fresh. Terrifier 2, 86% Rotten Tomatoes. Terrifier 3, 77%. Fresh.
How?
These are from critics. So we're going to have to take a look at it. Got to see this movie. Got to find out what's going on. Are you looking at something?
Yeah, and I'm looking at the reviews. I'm like, how do you justify this score? It's just a B slasher film.
I guess we're going to have to find out since we haven't watched it. Well, and we're going to have to take a look and see what it is.
I'm going to let you watch it because I'm not into these kind of movies.
I'm going to let you watch it. Okay.
I don't like gory movies. I just don't. Like, I watched Human Centipede because I lost a bet, and I really wish I had not seen it.
I watched it because you told me about it. So, yeah. So anyways.
Well, then you suffered the same fate. Then Jason got us both. Okay.
Well, Terrifier 3 was produced for only $2 million, and it's already made back 10 times more than it's
Yeah, it made $2 million in the first day.
Yeah, today. It made more money today or
yeah.
yesterday than it did to make it. So kudos to the guy. The studios didn't want it. The guy who created the series still owns it, and he's actually benefiting from it. So we'll have to look into this, report back to you guys. I just find it interesting that it's the biggest thing at the box office right now. Very, very interesting time at the box office with these movies that have just crashed.
Yeah.
Not done.
And we can't say a lot about it because we haven't seen Terrifier 1, 2, or 3. And I'm not planning on it, but maybe there's some brilliance there that I'm not aware of. Let
I'm
us
gonna watch
know
them
in the chat or the comments or whatever. Have you seen Terrifier? And what about it is so interesting? Because I look at the trailers and I go, I have no interest in this. I don't care about this at all. It seems like juvenile gore nonsense to me. Like, who cares? But maybe there's some kind of brilliance there that I'm not seeing.
Well, I'm going to look for it, and I've seen pretty much every horror movie, every legitimate horror movie that's been made, even a lot of the B movies. But I did never see this. You know why I never watched this one? Show the bad guy for Terrifier. Can you show the picture of the killer? I think this killer looks stupid.
He does look stupid.
The killer, I'm not intrigued by it. He doesn't have the mystery of Mike Myers. He looks. That's actually a really good picture of him. Like, that's like one of the better ones. There's other ones that just look terrible, stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the backstory is on it and what it is. But we'll report back to you guys.
Apparently, it's a holiday film.
I see Christmas trees.
Yeah,
and it looks like he's got Santa's face around his neck, maybe. So the cover of Terrifier 3. So yeah.
All right.
Let's move on from Terrifier 3 and let's talk about something interesting. Let's talk about hope in the future. Okay. Let's talk about Elon Musk catching a 20-story tall rocket.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah,
what?
Bro.
What?
Hell yeah, bro. Yeah, it's awesome. Look at this. Look at this insanity. This feels like it could be CGI, and I wouldn't know the difference.
Well, you would know the difference.
I mean, I would. But yeah. What I'm saying is, it's super rad out. It's literally falling out of the sky, and this thing just. It looks like it's about to blow up for a minute, and then it gets caught. Like, that is some futuristic stuff right there. That is so rad.
So I want you guys to take this picture. Okay, I want you to pause it right there, Brian, and just stay with this image. Now, I want you guys to imagine the space shuttle. Now, I know we don't do space shuttles anymore, okay? But you know that main rocket booster that you would see on the space shuttle? There were like two really big ones, right? And you had the big orange tank in the middle. So those solid booster rockets that would take the space shuttle up, they would just fall into the ocean, and then they would have to essentially try to recover them and then reuse them or try to rebuild them, right? This is essentially the same type of thing. This is for the SpaceX Starship. What is it? Is it Starship? Name of the ship? It's whatever this is for the ship that's going to go to the moon, that's going to go to Mars, right? That's taking things up in space. It's for that same main ship, but this is the solid rocket
for
booster
Starship.
For Starship. Now, imagine if NASA had been able to bring down the solid rocket boosters and just catch them, then they could just refill them up and get them ready for launch again and so the fact that SpaceX has been able to figure out how to do this means they're going to save so much money. Launching just got cheaper, which was going to be necessary to get us to go to the moon, to get us to go to Mars. Okay, so that's why the success. And if you play it all the way to the end, you're going to hear something really cool.
Okay, I'll play it. But listen, every time we launched, before we had the ability to reuse the launchers, it cost billions of dollars, like insane amounts of money to get payloads to space, because a healthy portion of what you built is just going to go into the ocean somewhere. It's pretty rough, man. All right, here we go.
It is. Play the rest.
Now, all down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks now in the air.
For me right now.
Yeah, let me tell you. So all that cheering was everybody a part of this program, and the realization set in that now they're going to be able to move forward. This is a moment of progress for humanity, bro.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
It's a huge moment, and people don't realize it. It's really, really a big deal.
Oh my God, so many people don't realize it. I'm sorry,
And I'll tell you who doesn't realize it. Now that you said it,
yeah,
the government.
Yeah, the
government doesn't realize it.
Yeah,
And
the government doesn't realize it. There's a lot of people on just like random normal people who are brainwashed by the current message that they're like, well, Elon Musk didn't do that. It was people he hired. Yeah, no shit, dude. Like,
well, yeah, but it's even worse than that, bro. So I made a big deal about it. And I want to talk about this first because Elon Musk just did an amazing thing. I mean, it's one thing to watch the Falcon 9 rockets come back and land on their launch pads. That was cool as hell when we saw that. But now this returning a solid booster rocket to its launch point, it's ridiculous. It's futuristic. But here's the problem. The government's trying to destroy him.
Right.
The federal government is trying to destroy him. And we're going to go through it here a little bit. Ever since Elon Musk bought Twitter back in 2022, a lot of really interesting things have happened. March 2023, the FTC sent 12 letters to Musk demanding that all of the company's internal correspondence for Twitter be turned over to them, including the identity of all journalists who had been allowed access. Remember when the Twitter files came out?
Right.
The FTC wanted to know who those people were so they could go after them. Right.
Well, that's so filthy. Give me all your journalists. Like,
yeah,
that is a fascist state right there. That's
an internal correspondence. That's in March 2023. August 2023, the Department of Justice sued Musk for discrimination for not hiring illegal immigrants. Now, it wasn't illegal immigrant. It was that's not the term they use. It was people seeking when they come in, they don't say they say amnesty or. Yeah, they're coming in looking for what's the right word? Is it amnesty? It's not amnesty. It's they're being oppressed or whatever. Anyways, I don't remember the word.
Asylum. Sorry.
Asylum. That was it. People looking for asylum. So basically, they were sued by the Justice Department for not hiring these illegal immigrants.
And how does that make sense? You hire the best people, not.
Well. You're right. You hire the best people. But on top of that, okay, you don't hire people who might not have your country's best interests. How many people have come across the border that are here for nefarious reasons? Wouldn't you want to go get a job at SpaceX and learn about all of our secrets and do terrible things to our country, right?
Oh, yes. Sounds very good. Thank you.
The lawsuit was so sketchy, they didn't even file it in federal court, but in administrative court inside the Department of Justice, just so outside eyes couldn't look at it more closely. So DOJ is also demanding payback for anybody who was turned down for a job. He wants him to give him money to everybody. So I guess the folks that are coming across the border aren't already getting enough freebies from our government, huh?
No, now Elon Musk also has to pay a little bit. Elon Musk has to foot the bill.
Right. Now later,
I don't understand that.
Now later, the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York started investigating Tesla for intentionally misrepresenting its battery range in cars. Talk about ticky-tack, 200 miles, 250 miles. They're going to make a federal case about it. And they're going to sue him, okay, over that type of thing. In now just this month, the California Coastal Commission, in their own words, is seeking political retribution against Musk after he was supporting Trump and calling out FEMA during the recent hurricanes. Here's the reasons they're citing for their rejection of him being able to launch in California, on the California coast. The commission chair stated, "We're dealing with a company, the head of which has aggressively injected himself into the presidential race. And that's why they're trying to turn down his ability to launch in California." Okay. The commissioner, Gretchen Newsom, who's a Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom underling, added, Elon Musk is hopping about the country, spewing and tweeting political falsehoods and attacking FEMA while claiming his desire to help hurricane victims with Starlink and access to the internet. So is it a good reason to not allow him to launch rockets in California, Brian?
No, and I'm sorry, this is bad faith. Let's say it was a good reason. Let's say, which by the way, that's insane. Imagine your political opinions stopping you from in a world where there are easily two sides to that opinion, but the other side saying you cannot operate because we do not like your opinions. That's absurd. But let's just say that's a normal thing to say. It's It's also totally bad faith because he did it. He was one of the very first people to help with the hurricane victims by not only giving free Starlink, but then sending out Starlink if people didn't already have it. Millions of dollars worth of Starlink went out to people so they can get internet. You know why they need internet? So they can go online and request the $750 that FEMA was going to give them. Do you understand? His criticism of FEMA is totally legitimate. FEMA has not only boggled this hurricane, it boggled Katrina, it boggled Hawaii, it boggled wildfires. FEMA continually has a problem doing the exact job that it was designed to do. And I'm not talking about this year or last year, but since I was a kid, since I was a child, I have constantly heard about FEMA never doing the job correctly. I mean, bro, you lived in New Orleans. How did they do with Katrina, dude?
Oh, yeah, the Katrina was a mess, man.
Okay, so at what point do you go, you know what? Maybe your agency is way too bloated. You have all this massive budget, this massive overhead, and every time there's an actual problem where we need you, you fail miserably. They deserve criticism. Are you saying that we can't criticize government agencies that take our money and don't actually give us anything in return when we need them? We have to be able to do that. So every argument they have, let's just say that you're allowed to do what they're doing, even though it's absurd. Well, every argument they have against the guy is bad faith at minimum and just straight up lies at the worst.
Well, and here's the worst part about it. They don't care. And here's the thing. They don't care if they're wrong. They're like, fine, let Elon Musk sue us because it's only going to cost him millions of dollars to sue the government. Guess how much it costs the government to get sued? Nothing, because all those people are getting paid anyways. Right. So it's all it is they don't care.
It costs the taxpayers, dude.
It costs the taxpayers money, dude. That's it. Exactly.
It costs the tax. It costs us. We pay it. We pay for them to utilize their post, to utilize the government and their action, what they were appointed to or elected for. We pay for them to utilize that post to go after people they don't like, for saying things they don't like, or for bringing light to things that need to have light shined on it. It's insane that we have to pay for them to go after the guy who has single-handedly is not the right word, but who has done more. SpaceX has done more in the last 10 years than NASA has done in 50. Has done in 50.
Almost, yeah.
With a lot less money.
Yeah, well, I think it's well said, and the point is like what you said. Elon Musk is trying to make the world a better place, and here the government is attacking. And I can't go back and think of any, individual person who. This is the first time our government has set up to attack another side, at least in our lifetime. In my lifetime, the government never went after its political enemies. And that's exactly what's happening here. And
this lawfare has to stop. Like, this has to stop. I don't. The DOJ cannot be weaponized. The courts cannot be weaponized. This is such an insanely slippery slope. We are talking about dystopian fascist outcomes if we allow the court system to run politics. It's such a bad thing for our future. And you know what? It's probably a bad thing for your future, because there's going to be a point where the other side is in control, and you've already standardized the practice of using like the courts to win elections. Hello?
Yep. Well said. All right, we got Brian going there, huh?
Oh my God. It's so frustrating. If you can't criticize the government that you pay to do a job, then I guess we can't criticize anyone. I just keep taking all of our money and do nothing in return. Take our money, remove our rights, and tell us how to live, and we're just gonna get down on our knees and just suck your middle finger because you're in charge, and then when there's nothing we can do about it. How insane is that?
Well,
FEMA
you know what's sad?
Has bumbled every single in my life. I have never seen a good testimonial from a FEMA disaster. Not once.
Well,
every
listen,
disaster, FEMA's involved, and everyone hates them.
Listen, what you said is the same argument they had in 1775. Same thing. All the exact same word you said. You're taking our money, you're taxing it, you're using it, you're telling me how to live. Same problem. So
taxation without representation. You know what we did in 1975?
Well, this is what I'm saying. So
we started a new country.
Well, and that's we did, but that's what I think these people, the government doesn't realize. When you overreach like this, it just makes regular people freak out. And so, what they're doing, Elon Musk, and I understand Elon Musk has not been kind about, he's opinionated about what he has to say. And I get that. But you know what? When you work for the government, you need to have thick skin. Okay.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, and one of the things that I think is really a big problem, Brian, Trump is talking about Elon Musk. What is he talking about doing?
The efficiency.
Having him head an efficiency team to look for inefficiency in the government. And guess where you're going to find a ton of inefficiency in the government? All of these places that are suing him right now. You're going to find inefficiencies in DOJ, in the CCC, which is the California Coastal Commission. But you're going to find all these federal programs that are fat and ready to be cut.
Oh man, you know what? I really want to see Trump win for one reason right now. Just to see Elon Musk's face when he gets to walk down the corridor to the various offices of the people he's going to be cutting. I just imagine him, the grin on his face when he's walking into the FEMA meeting. He's like, "You're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're cool, you're fired." Like, oh my God, it's going to be, if that happens, if he gets elected and he actually gives Elon Musk that job, then, the collective scream of liberals is going to be enough for us to hear for miles. Oh man, it's going to be beautiful.
And the government is an entity that in itself is bloated. When George Washington was our first president, the idea of having a president was to have a very small government. The government was supposed to basically keep the states working together to support the states. It was supposed to be small. There was no income tax. There was no, over the time, our country has grown and changed, and it's become more socialistic in some of its endeavors. And when you do that, you create a bigger, bloated federal government. You take power away from the people. Really, the state should have the power. The states, FEMA, if you're going to have a FEMA, it should be small, and it should be supporting state disaster programs.
Right.
Each state should have its own. And when Florida has a problem, Mississippi and Louisiana should come over to support. North Carolina come down. The state should support each other.
Look how well Florida did, though. The last hurricane. My buddy that lives in Florida was telling me, like, the way DeSantis runs that government, like, he has people on call. They know where it's coming. They know where the power is going to be disrupted. They have entire teams of professionals ready to deal with that situation. They're not reacting. Right. They're ready for it.
Right, and which is good, but FEMA is a giant, is a giant organization for the government that has millions and millions and millions of dollars that it gives out to people to help support. Well, if instead of using those tax dollars to create a FEMA department, why don't we give the people back that money, right? To, or give the money back to the state so that they can help their own people. I guess that's the way to look at it. So there's a couple of different philosophies here. And I think if you have a smaller government, then you generally have more, more money in people's pockets. So.
Yeah, the fact that $750 is a loan is so absurd to me.
I have too many things to say about that are frustrating.
It's so insane,
including how many people did not who were turned down the $750, which was a lot of people who needed it. So
is the billions and billions and billions and billions and billions that we're giving overseas, is that a loan? Do they gotta pay that back? No, but the people that actually paid for that now need some relief, some support. They've lost their homes, their businesses. They've lost friends and family. They've lost everything, their entire support system. And you're like, you know what? It's cool. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get you $750, but you gotta pay it back if you're approved. What?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, there's been some good things that FEMA did. They've been really good about initially hedging out disasters and really helping out. When I was in Puerto Rico, FEMA did a lot of great things, but that was a lot of years ago, and they need to redirect and figure out, how they're gonna support people. If they truly did use FEMA dollars to give to illegal immigrants to help set them up, that's an entire other thing that we need to address. Why is money being given to those people in those situations? We got a lot of problems and things to deal with, but
hopefully
one of
Elon
them
Musk
is
gets in there and cleans it up.
Well, here's the thing. Don't take the guy who's basically the next Tesla and try to ruin him over it. This guy's the one who's going to take us into the next century. Let's support him.
Yeah, and he's not that smart. He just hires the right people. So he's not that smart, but he somehow has continuously succeeded where others have continually failed for the last 60 plus years.
I don't know. Do people say he's not smart?
Yes, they say he's not smart. He just got lucky with one thing, and now he's just falling into every one of his successes. It's so nuts.
It doesn't work like that. As people who've been in business, that's not how it works.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't work that way. Let me tell you something, guys. What he did with the rocket the first time and now today, not today, but recently,
Sunday.
Like, there are people at NASA who said, and I couldn't find it. I looked for it, but I remember this. The first time they showed the smaller rocket coming down and landing itself, there were people in NASA that said, we thought that technology was 50 years away. There are people in these gigantic bloated organizations that don't believe that we currently have the ability to do what Elon Musk is doing with SpaceX, with Tesla cars, with Starlink. Man, Starlink was a pipe dream. What are you talking about? Satellite internet is expensive. It's slow. You have to have all these, these permissions. You have to launch all these little satellites. It's not something that is practical. Dude, someone said that to Elon Musk, and then it was like 5 years later, there's an entire Starlink system in place. It's fast, it's reliable, and it's affordable. Like, just like that.
It's amazing what money and motivation can do.
It's crazy, bro.
It's amazing.
So maybe he's not Albert Einstein, but you know what? The guy knows how to get it done. He knows how to get. The second you give him a bone, he's like, "How do I make this into something? How do I figure this out?"
I don't think he's Albert Einstein. I think he's extraordinarily intelligent. I think what makes him great is he's an innovator.
Right.
He can take an idea and realize it. And he's not afraid of taking risks. Like Tesla lost all of his money, right, or was stolen from him, and he eventually kind of went a little crazy.
By the government. By the way, hey, can't criticize you. They've been doing this for a long time. A long time. Like, if you think your government is like this huge, this altruistic thing that is out there they're not. Okay, there are portions of the government that are, but for a long long time, we have been fighting tyrannical governments that just do whatever they want.
Well, we didn't know. In all fairness, the government, and I had a whole thing on it here, but I'm not going to read it today. But essentially, well, thank you. And I do, at some point I probably will like to read it. But what I was saying basically is that there are people out there who are afraid, or afraid of things being different. They're comfortable being asleep, being led, things not changing a whole lot. There's a lot of people out there, and a lot of those people are voting for Harris,
right?
Because they're afraid of a guy who might do something because he believes that it's the right thing to do.
Because he has conviction.
Because he got conviction, and he doesn't owe anybody anything.
Right.
When you have politicians who are doing things because it's what somebody that they owe wants, or it's something that will help them get to some place in the future. Like, those are the politicians we've had for years, decades and decades and decades.
Yeah, status quo.
Now you've got a guy who could get in office and he has no motivation to do anything for himself. He simply wants to make this country a better place, and he's going to do it the way he sees fit. And I think that terrifies some people.
Yeah, the guy who was saying, like, hey, you know what? I'm going to hire the guy you hate that stole Twitter from you and fired 80% of the staff.
Yeah.
By the way,
80%.
Hey guys, Twitter/X running pretty well, huh? It's running better than it's ever ran. It's more popular than it's ever been, and they have 20% of the staff they had before Twitter bought it. Before Elon bought it.
Can you imagine where we'd be if he hadn't bought Twitter?
Dude,
Can you imagine like the level of FU? I mean,
dude, the gaslighting would be out of control. Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be very few places for people to speak freely. So,
anyways, that Trump can actually hire that guy to come in and clean up government organizations. Like, that'd be huge. Oh, and to make it even better, he said, you're going to come in and do an efficiency thing. And you know what? I'm going to hire RFK to come in and deal with the 3-letter agencies. How ironic is it that a Kennedy might be in charge of the CIA?
We'll see. I mean, I think he's more interested in health than he is CIA stuff.
But I'm just saying, it would be really ironic that a Kennedy might actually be in charge of a 3-letter agency. I just think that's...
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see.
Write a better book.
But first off, you have to get elected. So that means people need to vote. So vote your conscience.
Yeah, go out there and vote, man.
All right. Let's move on to our final story.
I'm not your mom.
No, you should vote. Because I'll tell you why you should vote. Let me tell you why you should vote.
Do it, but I'm not your
Let me tell you why you should vote. Okay. Let me tell you why you should vote. All right. Because if you don't vote, there are people at some of these election places who will vote for you.
Right. That is the scariest thing.
That I believe is what was happening. I think people who didn't show up to vote their ballots were being done. So listen, don't leave a ballot out there for yourself empty. If you care at all about who gets elected and you're like, I just ain't got time, I'm not interested, just go down there so your ballot doesn't get turned into a weapon of some other party.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay. Anyways, all right, moving on.
Moving on, we have a new movie getting ready to come out in March this year called The Electric State, and Brian is excited about this, and he has good reason to be. Brian, why don't you lead us in this one?
Yeah, it's set in the aftermath of a robot uprising. In an alternate version of the 1990s, The Electric State follows an orphaned teenager who ventures across the American West with a cartoon-inspired robot, a smuggler and his sidekick in search of her younger brother. The film stars Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, K.U. Kwan, Jason Alexander, Woody Norman, and more.
Woody Harrelson's in it.
Woody
Anthony
Harrelson.
Mackie.
Yeah, yep. Jenny Slate, we all know that, and Alan Tudyk, who is doing the
Stanley
voice
Tudyk. Stanley Tudyk, right?
No, Alan Tudyk.
I don't see him here. I don't see him here. I see Stanley Tucci. Is Alan Tudyk in it?
Yeah, he's the voice of the robot.
Okay, cool. And then also Giancarlo Esposito, who we know from Breaking Bad TV show.
Yeah, and it's coming out on Netflix, which is great. No theater required. March 5th, 14th. And here's a little snippet of the trailer. We're going to show.
Well, wait, before you show the trailer, explain why it's exciting news. I mean, screw it, it's just a movie. But why is there a reason for hope because of this movie?
Well, first off, you guys all know this. Shane and I love science fiction. But I especially love science fiction. I think I might like science fiction more than Shane.
Well, maybe, but I don't.
And let me tell you why. Because I grew up reading every science fiction book I can get my hands on.
Okay, that's true.
Whether it was Clark or Asimov or freaking William Shatner. If it was a science fiction book, I gave it a try. And my favorite science fiction books were stories about alternate versions of our near future that had some kind of hope to them. I love to be inspired, which is why I was drawn to Star Trek and Firefly and all these, Star Wars. And there was a book I read that I actually that I think this is based on, but I looked and I couldn't find information on it. But I read a book that had a very similar premise, where it was a mechanic. It wasn't a smuggler, but a mechanic, and this young girl who go on basically a cross-country adventure to try to locate her, her sibling. And it was right after the aftermath of like this robot revolution where the humans put the robots down. Now robots are slaves. Very similar setup. And so I really do believe this is based on that. And if it is, and I got to find the title of this book, and I couldn't find it. I'm remembering it, but I can't remember the actual name.
Well, all these things are very exciting, but the reason it is most exciting, Brian, is because Joe and Anthony Russo are directing.
I was going to get
movie.
there, but you wouldn't let me get there. You're Kamala Harris me right now.
You took 10 minutes to get there. So come on. That was the reason I was telling you. You went into this whole sci-fi thing. Okay, but go ahead.
But yes. And finally, because the Russo brothers and Chris Pratt are back together again. And so far, they haven't let us down. They make really good science fiction movies, and Chris Pratt is one of our favorites.
Well, not only do they make good science fiction movies, but of course, Marvel Endgame. They were the creative force minds behind them, the best that Marvel gave us. And, and so with them, doing this, it's bound to be pretty darn good. So,
yeah, so I am very excited about this because it reminds me of something I've read before. And, I just love this kind of inspirational, these fantastical stories about alternate futures. I love it. And you telling me I'm going to get the kind of genre and subgenre that I love in a movie directed by the Russo brothers and starring Chris Pratt. Cool. My only problem here, the only downside to this is that it also has Millie Bobby Brown, who I very much dislike.
Willie, how come?
I just don't like her. I don't think she's a very good actor.
You didn't like her in Stranger Things?
No, I didn't, actually. And I know this is sacrilegious, but I didn't like Stranger Things.
Really? You didn't even like the first season?
First season was good.
Well, it pitched to kids after that. So the first season was really good. And then they realized who their audience was that were watching it. And then they just pitched it towards children.
And I wasn't on board with that. I couldn't get into it. I didn't like her in Sherlock at all.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen her in anything that is interesting to me. And she had these weird comments a couple weeks ago where she was talking about how she doesn't watch movies and she doesn't watch, whatever. She likes social media. She's such a Zoomer, dude, and it just drives me nuts.
Well, and I don't think she's been in anything that you would probably care a whole lot about. She was in a movie called Damsel. She did the Enola Holmes thing.
Yeah, and I wanted to like that show a lot, that movie or whatever a lot, and I just couldn't get behind it. Didn't work.
She was okay in Godzilla versus Kong, but not, didn't really make.
I didn't even know she was in Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, she was the daughter.
Yeah, I wasn't even aware of that. That's how forgettable it was.
Yeah.
And maybe you watch movies with her and you're like, oh, I like her. That's fine too. But
it hasn't been in much, honestly.
So far, every movie I've seen her in is so disinteresting to me. So, And
All
I
you have
really
is-
wanted to like the Sherlock Holmes thing on Enola Holmes, and it did not work for me. Even with with Henry Cavill, it didn't work. Henry
I didn't
Cavill as
see that one.
Sherlock, sign me up, but it didn't work.
Interesting. All right, I didn't see that one. Okay, so so let's go ahead and watch the trailer, and then we'll talk a little bit about it.
I gotta say, I'm hoping that this movie is so good that she changes my mind. How about it? How about that?
I'm not arguing that she's good. I'm arguing for you, saying she really hasn't been in much. So I don't think she has a big, swath of viewing to make a decision, I guess, yet.
All right. Okay, here we go.
You sure you want to do this?
First off, real quick, the landscape looks so rad. Like that looks so cool. What is that? That's the Space Needle, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love this kind of sci-fi.
The dystopian
Like
sci-fi.
it's not dystopian. I don't like dystopian. I'm saying like I don't like where it's like somehow everything's fine and then like 50 years later the whole world's on fire and it's nuclear winter. I don't like that.
It looks like it though. You've got the future. You've got the Space Needle. It's obviously set.
No, this reminds me more of like a Ready Player One or something where it's like, it's more run down, it's older, or whatever.
I would say Ready Player One is a little dystopian.
Maybe a little,
yeah.
But it's not like, they're being hunted by government cyborgs on the wastelands or whatever. It's more a realistic version of what the future can be.
Yeah, I got an impression though that this was a bit of that the times were difficult in the future.
I think the times are difficult for the wrong people. Like, which probably what it is here too. Like, look at this robot. Look how cool that is.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
We all lost something after the rebellion.
And I can't wait to hear about the lore. How did the robots, who look super cartoonish, like, they went to war with a certain sect of humans because the humans wouldn't give them rights because they're sentient? How cool is that?
Yeah. There is a graphic novel on this story.
Oh, maybe that's what it's based on. When did the graphic novel come out?
Doesn't say here. Oh, 2018 actually. 2018 graphic novel by Simon Stalenhag.
That can't be it then. I remember reading a book that had a very similar premise to this. So the whole robots crossing the Golden Gate Bridge and all that. Like I remember that in the book.
Huh.
Like I'm so connecting with this right now, and maybe I could be remembering wrong, but
Humans lost connection with each other.
the things she mentions, like the robots lost the war, now they're slaves, and humans lost connection to each other because of virtual, because they picked up Oculuses or whatever.
Whoops, that's happening.
Yeah, that's already happening.
My kids don't talk to me. All they do is Oculus.
And I lost
Yeah,
everyone
they look really rad, man. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit here. The robot look, it's very cartoonish looking, but it could, especially if it's voiced by Alan. Look, Alan Tudyk is one of my favorite voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we loved him in Firefly. He played Wash. He's in Resident Alien. He's one of my favorite actors that a lot of people aren't really aware of. And I watched him in a movie called Tuck and Dale versus Evil, and it's one of my top 10 all-time favorite movies because of how great he is in it. And I love to see him get work, and I love to see his personality always comes through when he's doing voice work. Like, you can feel Alan Tudyk in the role. There it is. There's your favorite thing right there. The directors of Captain America, Civil War, Avengers Infinity War.
They were great movies. You know what it is? I have confidence in them that they can continue to make good stuff.
And the very bottom right, it's like The Gray Man. Oh, yeah, okay.
Which I liked The Gray Man.
No, yeah, it was a fine movie, but like,
I didn't think it was a bad movie.
I didn't think the level of Captain America Civil War, probably not.
Right? No, it's not. But
they had to include something in there that wasn't a Marvel movie.
There's Giancarlo.
Yeah, and he's great too. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Which it's about time he plays like a dystopian figure, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh wait,
You can't change the way things.
Oh, look who this! Look who this! Did you see that? Short Round, bro.
Oh, Short Round. Hey, after Everything Everywhere All at Once, that guy's going to get a lot of roles. So
It's about time, dude.
Yeah, he did great.
Look at Chris Pratt.
Get ready.
Stanley Tucci.
For what now?
Whoops.
Yeah, it's super rad, honestly. Like I'm not gonna play the rest of it, but like
The visual of this robot carrying around the Volkswagen van is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty rad. You're right. Yeah, it's rad, and I like the title. Like everything about it's cool. You know, it sort of reminds me of like, do robots dream of electric sheep? And maybe that's part of it too.
It probably is.
I love robots, dude. Like, you know how my favorite author is Isaac Asimov for a reason. Like, I think he just wrote the best sci-fi. And
well, I think that's what we're going to have to determine. You know, how good are the robots in this? You know, does it end up being a story that's touching? Is it about the characters or is it about the visuals? We'll have to wait and see what happens. But Universal actually had the distribution rights for this. This film was actually first announced way back in December 2017, when the brothers acquired the rights for the graphic novel. And Universal won the rights to distribute the film. But then in 2022, it was reported that the film might not have, they weren't going to give it a theatrical release. And so the distribution rights got transferred to Netflix. Later that month, it was confirmed that Netflix would be distributing the film. And then Chris Pratt came on board at that time to star alongside of Millie Bobby Brown. So what's interesting about this is it is coming out in March. And I believe that Netflix is giving it a theatrical release. Let me make sure.
No, I think it's direct to streaming.
Is it direct to streaming?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't like those. You know, Netflix has a lot of movies that have been okay, but I really don't like them when they don't go to the theater first.
Yeah, they don't get the kind of buzz they would if they went to theater. That's for sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
But I'm still interested. So yeah, let us know what you guys think. Are you interested in this? You know, are you a big sci-fi person? I'm still waiting for them to make some cool Isaac Asimov movies, and I gotta be honest, the Will Smith iRobot one was not on the list. It did not do it for me. So.
Oh, you didn't like Will Smith's iRobot?
It was okay.
Do you think Elon Musk copied him?
I mean,
with We Robot, did you see?
Yeah, I saw.
They were claiming that they copied him.
Look, if Elon Musk copied you, then you copied Metropolis, and Metropolis. If Elon Musk copied you, then you have some serious explaining to do. Isaac Asimov wants a word. You didn't invent the idea of a humanoid robot, dude. I mean, like C-3PO, anyone like this? They've been around for a long time. Since 1935, we've seen humanoid robots in cinema. So,
and you're right. The Electric State will be exclusively debuting on Netflix in March 2025. They got it wrong here. It says 24 in March 2025. So it will not be in theaters. You'll have to have a Netflix subscription to watch it. But we'll never know. You know what I hate about that? We don't know. Yeah. Was it successful? Was it not successful? We really need to.
Well, we'll know if it gets a sequel, because Netflix gives the successful movies a sequel.
That's not enough for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Not enough. I feel let down. Give me my theatrical releases. All right. Anyways.
Okay, y'all. We are. This is the end of the public show. We're gonna go to the members section pretty soon. And we want to let you know that even if you can't join us, we appreciate you being here, appreciate you watching, and thank you for supporting us. Even if you're just supporting us with a like, and do me a favor, if you're still here, hit that like button on the way out. If you are a member, when we end the stream, it's going to should handshake you over to the members section, and should be no different. And if you're not a member, consider becoming a member today by hitting the join button, bottom left, and buy us a cup of coffee and hang out with us after every show every week.
Yes, and also, Kenneth LaRoque did get us 5 new members earlier, and he also gave us a $10 super chat when we were doing the Elon Musk story.
Oh my God!
And he said the only way to play catch is with rockets.
I'm so sorry we missed that.
Thank you, Ken.
We got distracted.
It's okay. It's okay. No, you were like enraged and like engrossed upon
I
am going to.
I have friends of mine.
I enjoyed it.
coincidentally, who also do YouTube, who I have known for years, since Counter-Strike, bro, since like the good old days where I was a pro gamer. And it drives me nuts how just absolutely brainwashed they have become in this current age. And it's not because they're dumb. It's because they're sitting in an echo chamber in the middle of LA somewhere, and they just have no other information other than just their extreme hate for everything Elon Musk, for everything conservative, for everything remotely traditional. And it just drives me nuts to watch them spit a bunch of vitriol over Elon Musk, who has done nothing so far but be an asset overall. I'm sure there's plenty of examples of him being a douchebag, but overall, a net positive for humanity. But they just can't see it that way. They gotta just dunk on the guy continually, and it just drives me nuts. And I'm not white knighting for the richest man in the world. I'm white knighting for truth.
I am.
Like if you are so you have to realize how brainwashed you are if you don't see the overall net positive Elon Musk is on the world.
Well, if you don't see it, then you're probably have some sort of derangement syndrome.
Yeah, something's wrong with you, bro.
Because I mean, it has to be. There's a lot of people really upset when he took over Twitter and said, "No, we're going to have free speech." And it amazes me that people look at that and go, "Why would we want free speech? It was free. It was free." And here's the thing: when your sports team is winning, you're okay with whatever the hell they do.
Oh yeah.
You're okay if they
deflating balls.
You're okay whatever they do.
Right, yeah.
You don't care as long as you're winning. But you know what? This is politics, and this is people live. This is not a sports game. Okay, and free speech is what our country was built on, and we need to keep it that way. So.
Yeah, free speech is the First Amendment for a reason. It's the very first thing we came up with. You know what? We want to stay free here. Let's make sure the very first thing we do is give you the ability to speak. Hello?
Yes, absolutely. And if you come in the member section, a couple of people here comments. Matthew McGee, I will try to mention something about Apocalypse Season 2 that dropped on Netflix. I did watch the first few episodes. And Wolverine, I will try to talk a little bit about this Netflix theatrical business. I have an idea about that. So we'll see you guys over there.
That said, we're going to the member section. We'll see you there. Please hit the join button. And come on in. Water's warm. I'm taking my pants off as we speak.
I'm out of here.
Here we go.
Love you guys.
Nothing is impossible. Just do it. Do it. Just